No, no, please don't come. I'm sorry, no. What's wrong, Reimu? Well, Marissa, I was playing a horror game where a big white face attacks you. I was so scared that I started screaming. Why did you suddenly say that? I didn't do much this summer, so I thought I'd try something a little more summer-like. I see, that's what it means. So how about I tell you a scary Pokemon story? Wait, there's horror elements in Pokemon? It feels more like a dark element or urban legend than a horror movie. Wow, that sounds interesting. I think I'll ask for it. Well then, let me introduce it to you with enthusiasm. The theory that Karakara's mother was a Garura. First, there is a theory that Karakara's mother was a Garura. Both are Pokemon from the first generation. I remember the story of Karakara and Garagara in Zion Town making me very sad. It's a famous story. The bones on its head belong to its dead mother, and it is a lonely Pokemon that sometimes cries when it thinks of its mother. How pitiful. And Kangaskhan is a Pokemon that raises its young inside its pouch. The male kangaroo that served as the motif does not have a pouch, which is why only female Garoras exist. I think the Mega Evolution gives it the ability, parent-child bonding. I was so surprised when the baby popped out of the pouch. So why is there a theory that Karakara's mother is a Garura? First of all, they simply look alike. The face is hidden by bones, but the color and shape of the fur is definitely similar. But doesn't the fur of baby Garura differ in color? In the real world, there are plenty of animals that change color from juvenile to adult. So maybe it's grown a little and is closer to the parent's color? Well, this theory itself has been around for a long time, but the reasons supporting it came about later. A new feature in the 7th generation of Sun and Moon was the system where wild Pokemon could call their allies. Basically, Pokemon of the same species or evolved forms will come to your aid. But when Karakara calls for a friend, Kangaskhan sometimes appears for some reason. That's not even at the level of evidence. Right? And there's a third reason on top of that. Why did you suddenly say, Super Ultra Deluxe? Fair. So the third reason is, Reimu, did you know that there were some scrapped Pokemon in the red and green beta? You may have heard of it, but not seen it much. In fact, it has been discovered that among them is a Pokemon that is like an evolved form of Marowak, holding a baby. There's still been no official word on this, but I think it's probably pretty close to the truth. I got teary-eyed just thinking about Karakara sleeping peacefully in Garora's pouch. Parasect's body is a mushroom. Next up is the theory that Parasect's body is a mushroom. I like the cute appearance of the pre-evolved Paras, but what about the main form? So Reimu, do you know what the mushrooms on top of Paras and Parasect are? Shiitake mushrooms? There's no way such poisonous mushrooms exist. Just kidding, just kidding. Judging by its type, I wonder if it's a poisonous mushroom? Unfortunately, the opposite is true. This mushroom is medicinal. Have you ever heard of cordyceps? It's a mushroom that parasitizes moth larvae. I know it. Wait, is this the Cordyceps sinensis? That's right, it's written in the Pixiv Encyclopedia too, and it's red and green. The mushroom growing on the insect's back is called Cordyceps sinensis, and as it grows, the mushroom also grows. There are many other illustrated guidebooks that clearly state that it is Cordyceps sinensis. That's right, I didn't know that. In addition, in the Usum Parasect Pokédex, the insect is almost dead, and the main body is the mushroom on its back. If it comes off, it will no longer be able to move, it says. Why, you're right, Parasect's eyes are white and look lifeless. But at this point, isn't it no longer a theory but simply a fact? So I'm not saying it's a theory. Quibble. Furthermore, the Crystal Edition Encyclopedia states, when the insects can no longer absorb the extract, the mushrooms on their backs find insect eggs and plant their spores on them. It's like we're destined to be parasitized even before we're born. In fact, the name parasect comes from the English word parasite, which means parasite. It's said that it may come from the word insecto, which means insect. Hey, wait a minute. I just imagined something really nasty. Something unpleasant? Cordyceps has been used as a traditional Chinese medicine for a long time, right? I'm sure there's something called Kanpo Yaku in Pokemon too. Parasect's spores are also used. It says spores, but it's probably a mushroom. No, it's disgusting. I can't do it. Metamon is a failure. Next time I'd like something a little lighter. Right, then let's get to the bottom of the mystery of Metamon. Ditto. It's such a popular Pokemon that there are all kinds of official merchandise for it. That's right, it's said that Ditto was actually a mistake made when making Mewtwo. What do you mean? Mewtwo is an artificial Pokemon created from Mew's genes. To be precise, it is a Pokémon that was born as a result of extensive genetic modification of a Mew clone. It is said that Metamon was born during this process. Is there a commonality or basis? 1. The only Pokémon that can learn Transform are Mew and Ditto. 2. Both of the different colors are light blue. 3. Both weigh 4 kilograms. 4. Mew's base stats are all 100, while Ditto's are all less than half at 48, so their composition is similar. Well, to be honest, I think the evidence is weak. Even if you say it's far-fetched, it's within the realm of acceptability. But there are in-game settings that back this up. Reimu, have you seen Mewtwo Strikes Back? Yes, I always end up crying no matter how many times I watch it. I know, I cry every time I watch it. The Pikachu version was released after the movie was released. The Pokémon that appear are different from the other versions. That sort of thing changes with each generation and version. That in itself is true, but the Metamon that appeared on other maps. The deepest part of the Pokémon Mansion in Glentown where Mew was being studied, it no longer appears anywhere other than the Cerulean Cave where Mewtwo is. In other words, they only appear in places where Mew and Mewtwo are involved. Even though it hasn't been officially stated, it's hard not to notice their relationship. The reason for Mewtwo's birth is already a sad story, a massive human ego. Moreover, if it appears in the wild, it's possible that it was a failed experiment and was just dumped somewhere. There may be a sad past behind that cute, fluffy expression. It's a story that shows the darkness and arrogance of humans rather than the darkness of Pokémon. Theory that Mycalge was a prisoner used as a human sacrifice. Next up is a dark story about Mycalge. Mycalge is one of the Pokémon that doesn't want to be alone. I understand what you're trying to say, but what is with that group? Mycalge is said to be a Pokémon made up of 108 souls. He was sealed away by Kanemashi because he was always causing trouble. I wonder if evil equals worldly desires equals 108? Maybe so, and actually, there is a theory that Mycalge was originally a prisoner. Did you know that the Sinnoh region is modeled after Hokkaido? Yes, the map is actually Hokkaido. Katami City in Hokkaido is the equivalent of Zootown. There is a tunnel called Sunman Tunnel in that area. In 1970, human bones that may have been used as human sacrifices were discovered there. Wow, this has suddenly become a ridiculous story. The bones belonged to prisoners who had been forced to do hard labor during the pioneering days. The number of victims was high, exceeding 100 people, whether they were human sacrifices or not. There is also a memorial monument near the Tsunamoni Tunnel, which is said to be the model for the Goryo Tower. So those 32 people I have to meet in the basement. So those are the prisoners. Besides, Hokkaido is home to the famous Abashiri prison, right? That's why he was sealed away by Kanemashi after doing so much harm. It could also mean that the prisoners were buried in the tunnels as human sacrifices. But why 32? There was a cave-in on Route 209, and 32 people were killed. I also mentioned that 108 is the number of earthly desires, but earthly desires are actually one of the teachings of Buddhism. There is a list of the 32 features and 80 characteristics of the Buddha's appearance that can be enumerated in words. Wait a minute, is this suddenly getting complicated? Nothing is coming to mind right now. Well, to put it simply, Buddha has 32 physical features, such as faces, hands, and feet. Where did the 80 go? There are 32 major features and 80 smaller features. Buddhist statues and paintings are made in imitation of this. This is the exact opposite of the previous theory that the 32 people in the underground passage are prisoners. The theory is that the Buddha gave him protection before he met Mycalge, who could be considered an evil spirit. Hearing that makes me feel a little less scared. However, corpses are sometimes called hitoki. Hey, don't drop that huge bombshell. Mori no Yokon. The next one is so famous that many people probably already know it, but it's a story about a mansion in the forest. Isn't it a horror game to begin with? I remember the background music being really scary too. Well, it's one of everyone's traumas. One of the reasons for this is the two ghosts that appear frequently. The ghost of a girl and her grandfather. It moves like a slide, and there's no one there when I try to follow it. That's a real ghost now. It's definitely a ghost. Their true identities have not been officially covered. According to the story, a girl chased Pokémon into a mansion and went missing. Apparently her grandfather, who had come to search for her, also entered the mansion and went missing. Has it ever been explained why she went missing or why she became a ghost? I don't know that much. So everyone's speculations are progressing. There were rumors that gym leader Natani was somehow involved. It's been officially denied. Like Macalge we saw earlier, is it based on a real incident? There are rumors like that. Hakutai City is located near Asahikawa City, where the Kamuikoten pit-dwelling ruins are located. Kamuikoten means place where gods live, in Ainu language. Oh, you know it well. I learned this from Golden Kamui. That's interesting, I like it too. There are many legends and supernatural phenomena associated with Kamuikoten, but honestly, that's not the point. There used to be a Western-style inn called Shosen Inn in the city. Apparently there was a horrific murder case a long time ago, and the murderer also committed suicide on a roundabout. The inn itself was later demolished, but the nearby red-roofed house remained in ruins. It's also called the Coffin Mansion because for some reason there was something like a coffin in it. Ruins are scary enough, but coffins too? I think you could make a horror game out of that alone. Well, apparently that incident never happened. What? There isn't one. However, there are people who have experienced paranormal phenomena in the area, and it is actually a haunted spot. Although no crime occurred, it's possible that the story was based on a scary rumor. That's it. Well, it's also known as the representative of dark game freaks. Whatever the truth, the atmosphere and background music alone is scary enough. Is the mysterious place the afterlife? Now, let's talk about the mysterious place. This is another popular one, I haven't tried it though. Is this mysterious place a dark place? It is indeed a pitch-black place. Oh, people are saying this is actually the afterlife. Life after death? Hey, don't look at me with cold eyes. Well, first let me give you an overview of the mysterious place. There are several ways to get there, but you can only get there by taking certain actions in certain places. The most famous one is when you use surf from the bottom door of the Four Heavenly Kings room. Yes, you can move around a lot more than you can on other bug maps. You can essentially travel to almost the entire Sinnoh region. I'm pretty sure you can use that bug to get to places you normally can't. If you use that method you can go to places where there are legendary Pokémon without any handouts. So why are we talking about it being an afterlife? It has to do with where you end up from the mysterious place. From the mysterious place to the Sinnoh flower field and back to the cave. Then, if you use the escape rope in the return cave, you'll come out at the entrance to the Pokémon League building. I see, flower fields give the impression of heaven or something like that. In an old Sinnoh tale, if you send a dead Pokémon away it will come back with a new body. Yes, that's it. On top of that, the surf that triggers this bug technique may also be reminiscent of the Sanzu River. Unlike the previous ones, the evidence is too weak. Sorry but I don't believe this, and even if it was true it wouldn't be that scary. Well, it's just an urban legend. But there is one thing in this mysterious place that is truly scary. Picture? Well, this is a bug technique, so if you're not careful, you could end up losing your saved data. That would be really deadly. And more terrifying than anything. The motif of BW is that religion. Now let's talk about the 5th generation, BW. It's a region modeled on America. The central metropolis that reminds me of Manhattan is spectacular. So what dark elements are we talking about? I guess whether it's dark or not depends on the person. It's said that BW's story is based on Christianity. It's true that the story has strong religious overtones, but why Christianity? First, regarding N, according to creator Junichi Masuda's blog, according to N's initial settings, he has a high IQ, especially in mathematics, and is known as a math wizard. They can see into the past and future of humans, and have superhuman powers. As for his origins, his parents are unknown and it is said that he was born from a Pokémon. I see, so Christ is the model. Yes, he was also born of a virgin and was said to have superhuman powers. Also, regarding gym leader Iris. Her name comes from the name of a flower that is said to be a symbol of Christianity. The meanings of flowers vary depending on the color and type, but some of them seem to mean something like the sadness of the Virgin Mary. It is a very sacred flower for Christians. That's right, if I were to go into detail about this it would get really long. If anyone is interested, please check it out for yourself. The remaining legendary Pokémon are Zekrom and Reshiram. It learns special moves such as Cross Thunder and Cross Flame. Cross literally means the cross. Certainly, with all this, the credibility is high. Also, it's said that Jetsis was modeled on Judas. I see, but I still don't think it's that dark. Is that so? At the end of the story, the ideology of Team Plasma is rejected. If this is based on Christianity. I get it. I'm sorry, I don't want to start a fight, so please don't get angry. BW's protagonist dies theory. Now, let's get back to the point and talk about the main character of the work. It's about Tuya and Tuko. That's right, and straight away, there are rumors that these two are dead. This story is also quite famous. But I don't understand why there are rumors of his death. The first reason is that the two of them aren't even featured in BW2, which is set in the Unova region 2 years after BW. If that was all, I wouldn't feel so uncomfortable. Well, yes, but according to various characters in the game. Apparently, he went looking for a certain trainer, namely N, and never came back. It's strange, considering N is back. Yeah, they crushed Team Plasma's ambitions, right? The rumor is that he secretly murdered her out of spite. And both of them do appear in Pokémon Masters X, even though Charon and Bell are grown-up versions of themselves in BW2. The fact that Tuco and Tuya are still in their BW form makes this death theory even stronger. If you say that, then wasn't there a theory that Red died too? Yes, but he also appears in BW2 and as a grown-up in SM. The rumor that Red is dead has been completely denied by the authorities. However, Tuya and Tuco haven't appeared in any subsequent works, so this theory still holds strong. Also, in the comic version of Pokespi, the main character Black. He was sealed away by his enemy, Akroma's Obum, using his psychic power and flew off into the sky. It literally has a pretty crazy ending. There's even talk that maybe that setting was adopted. No, that's really too outlandish. Honestly, I think so too. Personally I think it makes more sense for him to be traveling in search of strong trainers like Red. And I'm simply happier with that. I get it, even if it wasn't, I still don't want to think about middle and high school kids being killed. The Unova region and the fetus. Now, let's move on to a rather sensitive topic, abortion. Wow, that's a really sensitive topic. I mentioned that the Unova region is modeled on America. In fact, America is said to have the highest number of abortions in the world. There are several Pokémon that are said to have been inspired by this. Let's start with Rankles. It's true that Rancris does look like a uterus or ovaries. It's also said that what appears to be the main body inside is actually a fetus. But can you immediately make that connection? Unorus, the pre-evolved form of Reuniquelus, can be found on Route 5 next to Raymond City. Yabukrin will also appear there, the child that is born from combining the two. I hope I'm reading too much into it. Furthermore, there is a theory that the Pokémon called Purariru is the spirit of an aborted baby. Mizuko are babies who died before being born. That's right. Why are they saying that? There are a few, but it has the ability Floating Spirit and is a water ghost type. Also, jellyfish have a body that is more than 95% water, and it is said that the body of a fetus is also more than 90% water. Furthermore, jellyfish are written in kanji as kurage, water mother, or kurage, courage, both of which use kanji derived from the feminine. There is also the ghost jellyfish, so it cannot be said that it is the spirit of an unborn baby. Still, I feel like it matches up so well. That's what I mean, if it's done intentionally, even if it's a dark GFX element. I'm feeling a bit mysterious. Like I said, I really hope I'm reading too much into it. Is Kuneo Gym an adult store? This has gotten a little heavy, so next I'll introduce some light and dark elements. Bright darkness is a contradiction in an instant. This is going to be a topic that kids shouldn't talk about, so if you don't like it, please skip it. So it's a bit of an adult story? That's right, and I'll say it in advance, but I understand that this is not the reality. It's just something people say for fun, so don't take it at face value. I get it, thanks for the warning. Now, the Fairy Gym is located in Kuneo in the Kalos region. Have you played Reimu XY? I did. Greninja was my favorite at the time, so I took him along without thinking much about it, but he beat me to a pulp. Fairies were a new type for this generation. I had a hard time relearning type matchups. So does that mean this Kuneo Gym is for adults? Well, I think most adults would actually think it looks like a dollhouse. The gym is unique in that it is divided into many small rooms, each with its own unique design. Some of the rooms even have bathtubs and toilets, making them feel like residential areas. It was like a life-size dollhouse and it was so exciting. But some of the older kids didn't feel that way. Beautiful women dressed up in gorgeous outfits, a small room with a bathtub. When I saw it, I felt it was like a brothel or a brothel. That's disgusting. That's the worst. Well, it's not just innocent kids who play it. Moreover, the word, fairy, itself has its own slang term. In the real world? In the real world. If you are interested in this too, try searching for fairy slang. It's all at your own risk. I seriously regret finding this. Is it such a strong secret? No, I had a strange thought and the door to a new world almost opened. Stop. Don't open it. Joey's other side. Next up, it's not a rumor or anything, but I'll show you a little bit of the dark side of Game Freaks. What kind of image does Reimu have of Joey? Huh? Yes, she's always smiling, energetic, and kind. He even celebrates my birthday and gives me all kinds of information in the latest SV. I guess she's like an older sister who has always been kind to everyone. He's not involved in the story, but he's definitely a behind-the-scenes player. Yes, the design is cute and it makes sense why Takeshi always flirts with her in the Pokemon anime. So what happened to Joey? Actually, you can see Joey's true side in XY. What does that mean? There's a place called Battle House in Keenan City that you can go to after entering the Hall of Fame. There, Joey, completely off, is in the audience. When I talked to Joey, huh? You want your Pokemon to be okay? As you can see, I'm off work right now. I'm just a normal girl when I'm away from the Pokemon Center, you know? You can hear lines like this. Wait, what? That's scary. Apparently, Joey releases his daily stress by watching battles. That's why I'm so upset that you spoke to me at such a time. No, I understand, but from the perspective of someone who genuinely had feelings for her, it's so dark it's scary. There's also Joey in Auras who speaks what sounds like Hakata dialect. Apparently, Joey has just finished working 20 days in a row and is very upset. That's so shady. Is Pokemon Center a black company? It's a good satire of modern society. It was probably the scariest thing I've ever been through. I think I'll express my deepest gratitude in my heart as I help Joey recover. Maybe some Joeys will be saved. Kinsetsu Hills accident property. Now, let's move on. Next up is a story about a luxury apartment complex called Kinsetsu Hills that appears in Auras. It's a place that has grown so dramatically since RS. It seems that the gym leader there is Tessin. Apparently the reason behind this is that he was impressed by Miare City in the Kalos region. Although it tends to be overshadowed by Kinsetsu, this place is also full of dark Game Freak elements. Kinsetsu Hills has rooms 1 through 16, and wherever you go you can catch a glimpse of the light and darkness of humanity. Surely you can't hear everything? Well, if I were to introduce them all, the day would be over by now. So let me introduce at least 2 of them this time. It is said that these 2 are the properties where the accident occurred. Basically, an accident property is something like, someone died or something. That's right. First, let's go to room 11, the room of the powerless man. A depressed man lives here, and if you complete the event in New Kinsetsu and return here, for some reason, room 11 is vacant. I wonder if they moved? Strictly speaking, the man who was supposed to live there was not there and the balcony window was open. And on that balcony there's a turnaround TM. Does that mean I'm returning to heaven? Probably. I don't know the truth of the matter, but I think that's the correct interpretation. It's so black, so dark. The second one is room 16, which is being sold for a cheap price for some reason. When I press the intercom of another vacant house, it says, no response. Only in this room does a meaningful silent message flow, unlike the others. You're clearly sensing something otherworldly. I'm sure room 11 will be put up for sale cheap soon too. I definitely don't want to live in a place like that. Mimikyu's true identity. Now let's talk about Mimikyu. Mimikyu is so cute. There are lots of merchandise for sale, and I've bought a few myself. But did you know that Mimikyu also has a scary side? Well, it is a ghost type, so I guess there is a little bit of that side to it. In fact, there is a rumor that Mimikyu's true identity is Polygon. Polygons? That's outlandish again. Actually, that's not true. There are a number of reasons and justifications for this, but let me introduce some of them. First of all, the official setting is that Mimikyu hates Pikachu. There are many scenes in the Pokemon anime where Mimikyu hates Pikachu. But why do you hate me? It's not explicitly stated, but do you remember Reimu having an incident called Polygon Shock? Well, I think it was because of a flash on the screen in the episode where Polygon appeared in the Pokemon anime. Apparently, kids who watched the anime at the time got sick and several were hospitalized. Yes, but it wasn't caused by Porygon, it was Pikachu's 10 million volts. Despite this, it was renamed Polygon Shock and the episode was shelved. Moreover, polygons have not appeared in anime since then. Isn't it because of the polygons? That's right. So Mimikyu, or in this case Porygon, resents Pikachu for putting the blame on him. The second reason is the timing of the Polygon Shock. The time when Mimikyu started imitating Pikachu is almost the same. The SM official website states that the reason for the Pikachu resemblance is that about 20 years ago, when Pikachu goods became popular, it says that Mimikyu is actually lonely, so they thought that in that form he would be able to get along with humans. When was SM released? It was November 2016. So 20 years ago would be 1996. When did Polygon Shock occur? December 1997. It's almost exactly the same. But if you think about it, Polygon Shock came out a year later, right? That was about 20 years ago, right? Surely it's okay to count a year or so as an error. Well, certainly. The third reason is that if you add up the numbers in the Pokédex for Pikachu and Porygon, it's Mimikyu's Pokédex number. In the SM Pokédex where Mimikyu first appeared, Pikachu was ranked number 25. The Polygon is number 217. Add that up and you get number 242, Mimikyu's Pokédex number. Wow, that's really Mimikyu's number. That wasn't far-fetched at all. It's actually quite true. This wasn't stated either. Now that the Pokémon anime has become a completely new series, I hope they release Polygon again. Oh, I want to be punished. Galarian Farfetch'd model. Next up is Galarian Farfetch'd, whose regional form appeared in Sword and Shield. This Galarian Farfetch'd is said to be modeled after a real mountaineer. Was that so? He died in the mountains, so I can't just talk about it so easily. That's right, sorry. If you're really curious, check it out for yourself. So do you have anything in common with that climber? There are so many similarities that some people are wondering if they really did it. First of all, a nose has been added, which was not present in the original, and it is black and triangular. And even though it's a Pokémon that deals with mime, it doesn't have the necessary fingers, which suggests a connection to Frostbite. The mountaineer who is said to have been the model for the character also lost all of his fingers except for his thumb due to Frostbite. Its nose has also been discolored and triangular in shape due to Frostbite, just like a Galarian Farfetch'd's. I just searched for photos of the supposed model and there's a pretty good match. That's right. Furthermore, the new feature of barrier-free. They say it may be due to him losing a finger and becoming disabled. Another characteristic, motivation, may come from the fact that climbing snowy mountains equals freezing to death equals not being able to sleep. The Dream Trade Ice Body also suggests that the climber is frozen to death. If it's true, I suppose it's a sign of respect, but I think it's a bit in bad taste. To be honest, I would like to deny this theory, but the problem is that it seems strangely credible. Whether it's true or not, it's a fact that a real person has passed away, so we need to pray for his soul. Statue at the Hisui Ginga Group headquarters. Well, this will be the last one. Finally, from LA, we have a story about a Magikarp statue at Team Galactic's headquarters. Yes, there is something like that. This time it's not a rumor, but something to do with the past of the leader, Denbok. Denboku's past. Oh, did you know that Denboku and Moob the potato rice cake maker come from different regions? There was a story like that. Why? The truth is, LA hasn't been able to play until the end. It's a bit of a spoiler, but is that okay? Yes, it's okay. So let's continue the story. Denbok and MBE were originally living in different regions, but one day they were suddenly attacked by rampaging Pokémon. They have a history of having their hometown burned and losing many of their compatriots. That's why you were so keen to create a safe village. But what does that have to do with Magikarp? Now, moving away from their past for a moment, there are a lot of NPCs in Kotobuki village. Among them, the statue of Magikarp at headquarters was originally planned to be a Gyarados. You can hear the story of how it was rejected by Denbok and became Magikarp. Do you know what Reimu can link with Gyarados and Rampage? The red Gyarados from the Gold and Silver Raging Lake. That's a great answer. In fact, Denboku suddenly starts speaking in Kansai dialect towards the end of the story. There's no doubt that he's from the Johto region. And as you can see in the game, in Denbok's captain's room, there is a man and a woman who seems to be his wife. There was a photo of the two of us on display. If you came with Moob-san, that means your wife is already. Yeah, probably killed by a red Gyarados. No wonder the fear and hatred towards Pokémon is all the more intense. The grief and hatred is unimaginable. I'm sure that feeling is even stronger towards Gyarados, so I would reject the statue. My trauma keeps being dug up every day. I'm gonna try playing LA again. Also, pay close attention to Denboku's lines. Open black lens bracket ending close black lens bracket. We've talked about a lot of different things, how was it? There were facts, rumors, and even hoaxes. But I think the reason there are so many different stories is because Pokémon has so many fans. If she wasn't loved there wouldn't be so many stories like this. It was supposed to be a dark element, but in the end it made me want to play Pokémon again. Play to your heart's content. Well, that's it for this video. I'd love it if you could tell me in the comments about any scary or dark Pokemon stories you know. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching until the end. Thank you for watching until the end.